And welcome back. So this what if is going to be a very brief what if. It's another Dragon Ball Z one. I do a lot of the Dragon Ball Z ones. That's because there's a lot of history and lore I can do with the Dragon Ball universe that to do what ifs. But also, when I'm unable to get one really written down in depth, it's just easy for me to go to these. And this one, it's what if Goku kept his tail? Now, in the history of Dragon Ball, Goku lost his tail pretty early on in Dragon Ball. In Dragon Ball Z, he never gained his tail. He hadn't gained it back in Z at all. He only gained it back in GT, which is not canon. Super, I believe, is canon, as far as we know, for the actual universe. But yeah, he's never regained his tail. As far as we know, I mean, when Rad said that you've lost your true power, we assume he's referring to the ability to transform into a Great Ape. That's what we assume he's referring to. But I would assume also that your power level is lowered because you lose the tail. Now we don't know this for certain. We only have hints of it through the series, in the movies, in Cooler's Revenge, when the guy grabs Gohan's tail. Why he had a tail at that point, I don't know. When he grabs Gohan's tail, the guy says that Gohan had a power level didn't even have a power level of 50, and then he said that's a pitiful power even if you have him by the tail, which implies just by pulling the tail your power can go down, which would mean by having a tail your power goes up. So not having the tail probably also decreases your power a bit. Probably not huge as opposed to just pulling the tail, but especially since you can evolve past the weakness of the tail pull. But I would assume that not having the tail weakens your power by somewhat. But if you were to go by that logic, then how the events in GVZ play out would probably be as such. Now, it would not be huge significant differences, but there would be a couple. One of the big differences would be that Goku would have his tail, and his power would probably be slightly larger. Now, we also don't know how much of an increase or decrease it gave to Vegeta's power when he healed from this trip to Earth, because he got a giant Zenkai boost from that. But Goku probably would be. I estimate he'd probably be like 100 in the terms of the power scaling. His power would be roughly 100, an extra 100. So he'd be so instead of I think it's 312 or 324 his power was at, he'd be about 424. And while Piccolo would train hard, he'd still probably only be maybe a little stronger, maybe 350. They take their weights up. Piccolo's probably around 455. Goku would probably be in the 550. We'll just even it out. Now, the fight would still probably go about the same. They'd probably get their ass kicked. Goku would fare a little better, but not by much. His Kamehameha would probably also be stronger, maybe in the 1200. And I don't know if that'd finish Raditz. I doubt it. I just don't think it'd all go about the same. So Goku would die, and then that all happens. He goes to King Kai. He trains. He comes back. I believe he's probably a little stronger than he was. He'd probably be suppressed, still about 5,000. I think his overall strength would be around the 9,000. Probably wouldn't be at the full 10,000, but around 9,000. The whole over 9,000 would be a thing now. So he'd be around 9,000. He beat Nappa. He and Vegeta would fight. Doing a double Kaioken would actually put him on par with Vegeta, so they'd be even. But Goku realized that he can't go past that, or he can't defeat Vegeta without going past that limiter. So he goes to the triple. Is now pulling 20. His power would be 27,000 versus Vegeta's 18. His body would only be slightly less strained. He'd still be in immense pain, but whatever. Vegeta is got a gun, Kamehameha, triple Kaioken. They'd probably be a match, probably be equal, if not, maybe Goku might overpower him slightly, but I think he'd still go to ×4, which I think if I'm correct in believing, he was around 4,000 with his Kaioken plus the Kamehameha. He'd be probably around 45,000, but he'd still be in immense pain. And then he's transforms, but he's going to probably forget that Goku has his tail. Because he's just now I transform into the mighty Ozaru. Now he's 180, but Goku sees it also. And here's the thing. If he could retain his mental state like Vegeta or Baby did in GT, he would be horrifying because he could probably perform giant, massive Kaiokens in a giant ape form. However, I don't believe he could. And I don't believe he could very simply because he doesn't have the mentality. Goku has shown when he transforms into a giant ape, and any times he did it, he didn't have the mental capabilities of controlling the form. But he'd still have a power level of roughly 90,000. So he'd be about half as strong. However, this is where a big difference is going to come in. Is that Goku probably wouldn't get his bones broken, but he'd still get the shit kicked out of him because Vegeta is twice as strong as him as a giant ape and has the mental fortitude of controlling the form. So he'd be able to fight much easier. Goku probably would get a couple of hits in, but still he'd go down. Maybe even Vegeta's about to cut his tail or something like that. Goku maybe transforms back after he knocks him out, but Yajirobe gets that lucky slash and it's like, no, prevent that sound where Yajirobe's like, ready, and it's like, no! Now, if Goku's still standing, which I think he might be, he's probably going to be weak. He's down to like the 40,000, but he's still 40,000 giant ape versus Vegeta at a weakened state, not even the 18,000, probably now more like a 12,000, like, oh, shit. And then just beats the living crap out of Vegeta. Goku somehow changes back. Here's the thing. I think probably the Saiyans can't grow their tails back naturally after a certain age. Because Gohan was able to grow his back after a time. And Vegeta did not grow his tail back after he got cut off. So it's interesting how that works. But Goku maybe transforms back. They're both tired. Vegeta gets away. Goku heals up. Excuse me. Goku's not as bad shape, so he doesn't get as big as Zenkai boost. I think he'd be around 10,000. I think 10, maybe even 11,000. We'll go 11,000. So I think it stays roughly the same as I predicted in some of the other videos, and where Goku is healing up. He gets his Zenkai boost around 11, 12,000. Let's just say 11. Well, I'll say 12 for even multiplier, or an easier multiplier. Goes to train. Piccolo's still dead, so he's training. And again, it's about 10 times is what his multiplier was. Because again, it was a gradual increase. He didn't start 100 times. It was a gradual. So from what I understand, he was 9,000 at base when he left Earth. Arrived on Namek is around 90,000. That's what Ginyu estimated, and then Kaioken brought him up to the 180. So he'd be around 120,000. Come in. He's tied with Ginyu for his full power. They clash. Goku just does a simple Kaioken and just goes to a 180. This body has a power level of 180,000. I've seen it. It's like, yeah, well, whatever. They beat him. Again, that happens. And I'm trying to remember. It's not, he wouldn't be at 5,000 with that boost. And Namek didn't have a moon as far as I recall. So, I don't recall. I think he'd probably be, because he was around 3,000 when he got out of the chamber, or 3 million when he got out of the chamber. And from what I understand, if he was a little stronger than that, he'd actually be roughly he'd be roughly 5 million. He'd probably be in between so he'd be about 4 million, give or take, when he comes out. So he's a little stronger than that. He comes in, he's got his tail. I don't know if there's any scenario in the fight between him and Frieza where a moon is going to show up. Moon! Perfect. Orbiting. Perfect orbit. My ass! If the hypothetical... Again, I can't remember. Tell me if you remember there being a moon on Namek. Because it was never night on Namek. So I don't think there's a moon in the sky for Namek. If there was, let me know. Hypothetical in two scenarios. If there's no moon, the way that fight goes down is very similar to how it went down in the series. Granted, I think Goku's evolved past the tail pulling at this point, so that's not going to work. And being at 4 million, he can do Kaioken Taisen, be at 40. He would fare slightly better against Frieza's 50% form at 60 million, but still get his ass roughly kicked. But when he does the 20, Frieza's going to be a little taken back by that. I'm just like, shit! And, get thrown. Maybe even, I could even see his hand maybe being almost incinerated. Like, his hand's just crippled. And now he's just pissed at Goku. He's like, rah! He's like, boo doo doo doo. The only way I can see a scenario, like if he does the spear bomb, looks at it and sees the moon in it, then I could see something like that happen. But I don't see something like that happening. And even then, I mean, yeah, he'd bump up to 40 million, but he'd still be a 40 million powered dumb ape. So, yeah. And that's the thing. in a scenario where the moon does happen, it does exist, he turned into a 40 million dumb ape. So Frieza might have a problem with that for a little bit, but then just bitch slap him. Again, if he could maintain his mentality, he'd be a force to be reckoned with, but he doesn't, so he can't. But he can't, so he isn't. Then we get into the Super Saiyan form. Now, at 4 million, he'd hit about the 200 million mark. He'd completely rape Frieza at that. Even if Frieza fully powered, he would rape him. Just rip him to sunders. And then that takes care of. I think Frieza still destroys the planet. But Goku was able to make it out of there in time, I think, after just completely just, well, you know what time it is? Rape. You know, that. So, yeah, he makes it off. Then he makes it back to Earth. And for the most part, that whole scenario, the Earth, he's going to be a little stronger, but not by much. To the point where I don't think he's going to, you know, defeat the androids or anything like that. Now, if Goku's aware of his abilities, maybe he trains in the hyperbolic time chamber with Gohan to maybe try to master his ape form with Super Saiyan. He could try doing that. I could see him trying to do that. The problem is the hyperbolic time chamber doesn't have a moon. So I don't know how he would do that. Maybe he tries to access that, and this is all speculation this point. I have no real base to go. Because when you watch him go into Super Saiyan 3, and I'm not saying he masters Super Saiyan 3 to beat Cell or anything like that, and it's about ki control in that state. And you see that in the manga, and I think, in the anime, and I think maybe in the manga when he's transforming, that probably the most epic transformations in DBZ history. You can argue that if you want. Maybe the Frieza one does beat it. But that comes at a good second if it does. You see him like focusing and internalizing his ki, and it goes from Great Ape to adult. He shrinks into a little like ball for a kid. So it's about controlling all that power, the power of the ape. In theory, maybe in trying to harness the Ozaru form with Super Saiyan, he unlocks some weird mixture of Ozaru, not the golden Ozaru form, which would be about 500 times, but maybe like a weird blend between Ozaru and Super Saiyan. Basically what I'm thinking, not Super Saiyan 4, but like a golden version. Is like he gains like the Super Saiyan 4 fur and the golden hair, like what Super Saiyan 4 was actually originally supposed to look like, the black hair, the gold hair and golden fur. But apparently they didn't like that look. And Super Saiyan 4, I don't hate Super Saiyan 4. I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't hate it. So let's say that happens, and let's say the multiplier from that is maybe like 200. It's like halfway between. It's like twice as much as Super Saiyan 2, but not quite full Super Saiyan 4. If that happens, and Goku unlocks that form, he completely decimates Cell at that point, because just in not full Ascended Saiyan, he was able to fight toe to toe with Cell, and even would have killed him so not moved his nucleus in his head. If he had reached a full-fledged Super Saiyan 2, he probably would have beaten Cell. If you're talking about times 2 Super Saiyan 2, like twice that much power, yeah, he completely decimates Cell. So in that Goku's always wanted to strive and train and unlock new power. So it's theoretically possible he can unlock some hybrid form that's not Super Saiyan 4 or 3. After that, if he trains, he probably unlocks Super Saiyan 3, maybe even mixes his Ozaru power with it or something like that. And when you get into the later parts of the series, assuming he still has his tail, which we're assuming he does, and he learns how to harness his tail, like his Ozaru power, along with his Super Saiyan form, Goku becomes a flat-out tank, a flat-out beast of a character. If you were to somehow combine Super Saiyan 3 with his Ozaru form in a controlled form, you're adding it's 400. You're basically turning him into that's a Super Saiyan 4 altogether, basically. The amount of power anyway, the popular belief amount of power anyway. But that's who knows. And then if you combine Super Saiyan God Ozaru, bitch. It's like, hold on, Lord Beerus, I got something to show you. What's that saying? It's like, Look at me. I look back at the moon. I look at the moon. I look at me. I am not the moon. Look at me. I'm looking at the moon. Look at me again. I'm turning into a monkey. So now he's Super Saiyan God Ozaru. And Super Saiyan God Goku gave Beerus a good run for his money. I believe we said Beerus actually had to go around 70% of his actual power to match Goku at about 80%. And Goku, I think, so if Goku went a full 100% and Super Saiyan God, he wouldn't be as strong as Beerus. I believe they said if Beerus is a 10, Goku's a 7. But so yeah, if Goku would probably be there, but then you times 10 that. And again, at this point, if Goku fully controls his Ozaru form or something along those lines, or we get a God Super Saiyan 4 looking thing, basically Gogeta, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, it would be what Goku would look like. Then I think Beerus even like, well, shit, this is going to be fun. And actually gets a good pummeling from Goku that time around. Now, granted, he's the god of destruction. He can literally touch you, not even touch you, just say destroy and blow something up anywhere. So I don't think Goku would beat him, but it would be an awesome fight. If you got any like pictures, or if you can find fan art of like concepts of that, I'd love to see it. I've seen stuff like that before, but it's an awesome idea to think of what Goku could accomplish if he actually had his tail in control of his Ozaru ability. Can you imagine what that would be like? Blue Ozaru! I am blue. What's the difference? I was red before. Blue is cooler. But yeah, I kind of, like I said, these ones are easier for me to do and kind of have fun speculations on when I haven't been able to, write a full video out. So the DBZ ones are always fun to do. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I'll be back Wednesday with who would win. I do not know who would. Actually, no, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's one I've had on the backlog for some time. I can't wait to get to it. It's going to be Kratos from the God of War series versus Death from Darksiders 2. I've had that one on my docket for some time now. I want to get to it. That is going to be an epic one to do for me. I'm going to enjoy that so much. But yeah, Kratos from the God of War series versus Death from Darksiders. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.